Welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where we talk about the top 30 running back rankings for Week 16. You ready? Those Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
Those Fantasy Goodfellas. All right, welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video. Let's talk and see how we did on last week's rankings before we get in the top 30 running back rankings for Week 17. So what I like to do is point out that this is what the rankings look like. When you see anybody's rankings, the first thing you want to know is, well, who didn't play? So in Week 16, everybody who was on the rankings played. This is what it turned out to be. So if you look, you got 19 out of 30. Now that's not a good week. So I think that's a little stretch. So that's what the rankings look like, 19 out of 30. So that's not a good week. Now the thing I like to do is how many of those rankings who didn't make the list. This is what that looks like. You can see that is what the positions they came in. So you look at Josh Jacobs, he came in at 38. Stevenson here, he was 50th. Some people just barely made the list, but what I always like to do is to say, okay, how many scored touchdowns? Now that's what the touchdowns look like for the top 30. Now you can see if you made a touchdown, you probably did pretty good on your rankings, and I think that's important to kind of note. But that is what the rankings look like. If you want to see, again, we'll take a quick peek at what they came in at. And here was the question. I know there was Tony Pollard or Ezekiel Elliott both making the top 30. I guess Pollard barely squeaked in. And then if you got here Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, neither made it. So that was something that we talked about last week. But you know, it goes without saying that when you do these top 30 rankings, not everybody is going to make the list, and that's obvious from what we saw here. And I think when we do these rankings this week, that's what we're trying to expect. Again, who's going to be on the list that doesn't make it, or who's on the list that's going to score. So anyways, let me just explain what's going to happen in the video. I'm going to take a look at somebody else's rankings. I'm going to show you some stats to see if you agree or disagree, in addition to whether I agree or disagree, and see if these stats can help you set your own lineups. Now, I know if you're watching, that means you made the playoffs, you made the finals. This is championship week, so good luck, and I hope this video helps you. Let's get started. At number 1, you got Christian McCaffrey at Las Vegas. Now, this is a safe bet if you're thinking here, but look at Christian McCaffrey. He only had 46 rushing yards, 1 TD, and 12 yards. So you're putting him at number 1. If I want to take a look at what he did, when was the last time he was ranked 1? He 13, 14, he did pretty good, but ranked 13 last week. You're going to need Christian McCaffrey. If he made it to the playoffs because of him, you're going to need him to do well this week. So I don't know if he's going to be number 1. Doubt it. At number 2, Derrick Henry versus Dallas. Derrick Henry last week had 126 rushing yards, 1 TD, and that only got him ranked 9th. So that just shows you what it takes to be ranked number 1. It's going to take more than 126 rushing yards, 1 TD. If you want to see what Derrick Henry's been doing the last couple weeks, he's ranked 6th, he's ranked 4th, he's ranked 9th. I think they're going to depend on him more because obviously Tannehill did not play. And if you look at your quarterback situation, you got Willis, and he's going to get the usage. So putting Derrick Henry 2, that's pretty safe. At number 3, Austin Eckler, home versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Chargers got a lot to play for. Eckler just had 2 TDs last week. He's doing well. They're using him. He's getting into the end zone. I'm not sure that happens every week. So if he has 2 TDs, that puts him at rank 3rd. I don't expect him to do it, so I think that's a little high for him this upcoming week. At number 4, you got Josh Jacobs, home versus San Francisco. Now, the question is, I think the Raiders just missed the playoffs. They don't have a lot to play for. He's had a lot of usage all season. He's done very well. The question is, they got nothing to play for. I don't think they're going to give him the ball. I don't think he's going to get in the end zone. I think that's a stretch to put Josh Jacobs there. They just got nothing to play for. At number 5, Saquon Barkley, home versus Indianapolis. Last week he had 84 rushing yards, 49 receiving yards, and 1 TD. That's what you want to expect. It's not a lot, but he's both rushing and receiving and getting in the end zone, and that's going to get you a 4th ranking. I think he can do it again. I think that's going against Indianapolis. Don't see anything. His receiving core, I like Saquon Barkley there. Think he can repeat that again. At number 6, you got Dalvin Cook at Green Bay. Minnesota's crushing it lately. You don't always need it. You don't always need it from your rushing attack. So the question is can Cook get into the end zone? And I think this is a passing team. We know that. And if it's a passing team, this is what the rushing looks like last week. They're going against Green Bay. Miami didn't do anything rushing against Green Bay, so I think that's a little stretch for Dalvin Cook to be ranked so high. I think that's a little stretch. At number 7, Nick Chubb at Washington. Again, he had 92 rushing yards, 10 receptions. My only question is they got to see what they're getting out of Watson. They're going to have to air it up. So eventually, this is not going to be balanced. It's going to be skewed one way, and they got to see what they're getting with Watson. So I think they're just going to pass it. Look, 31. Let's take a look at Watson. He had 31 attempts last week. The week before, 28. The week before that, 42. I think you're going to have to see what you get out of Watson. Nick Chubb ranks 7th. I think that's a little high. At number 8, Joe Mixon, home versus Buffalo. Joe Mixon, I think it's a passing team. Perrine did not do that good. He had, the only thing, it's a balance. If you have 7 catches and 43 yards for Joe Mixon, he's going to be ranked in the middle. I think this is it's a safe, but he's going to need a score to be in that top 10. At number 9, Ramondre Stevenson, home versus Miami. This is an important game for both teams. But Stevenson missed it last week. You got Mac Jones. I just don't trust that offense there. I think that's a little stretch for Stevenson to be there. At number 10, James Conner at Atlanta. I think this is this is what I expect him to be. Ranked around 6th, 7th. I think this is a little low ranking from him, especially if he could do 79 rushing yards, 1 TD, 41 receiving yards. If he can do that again, he's going to be a little bit higher on that list. And he's going against Atlanta, so I like Conner right around 10. At number 11, Tony Pollard at Tennessee. Now, that team's hot. They got a lot to play for, but last week he barely made it. He made it with the receiving, and if we look at where's the ball going to, it's going to your receivers. They got T.Y. Hilton. I expect Hilton to have more than 1 target, but if you're getting 52 yards on 1 target, they're going to open up for a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to go the running back's way, so I think that's a little stretch to put Pollard so high. I actually like Ezekiel Elliott a little bit more this week. At number 12, Aaron Jones versus Minnesota. This is a huge game. I think Aaron Jones is going to have one of those games that he's destined to have. I think they're going to have to stretch the ball around, pass the ball, make it even, and I like Aaron Jones' chances this week. At number 13, we got Travis Etienne at Houston. We already know Houston's terrible. Jacksonville's hot. I think Etienne can have a very, very good game. And if you just want to look at what he did, what's his rankings look like, the last time you look at week 7 through 9, he was in that top 10. If we look at other times, he was in the teens. or in the decies. That he was only in the decies one other time. So I think that's fair to put him at Travis Etienne at 13. At 14, Alvin Kamara at Philadelphia. Hey, listen, we all know Kamara is a stud. He can do it all, and this is what you need: about 76 rushing yards, 1 TD, and 34 receiving yards, and you're in the top 10. The question is, who's his quarterback? You got Andy Dalton, did not do good. Let's look here. You didn't need much, but they're going against Philadelphia. If they're going to try to win the game, they're going to have to. Dalton's going to have a tremendous game, and Kamara is going to have a balanced attack. But they're going against the best defense. I don't think Kamara is going to beat 14. I'd like to see him ranked a little lower. Now, I also want to see. Oh, hold on 1 second. I just want to share. If you're watching this video, we just want to say this might be our last running back rankings video for the season. From the Fantasy Goodfellas, from Richard and I, we want to say thanks for watching our channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We hope this season has really helped you guys with your lineups. We look forward to coming back next year and doing it all over. So thanks for watching and supporting our channel. And let's finish these rankings. All right, at number 15, you got Kenneth Walker home versus the New York Jets. Kenneth Walker, he had 107 rushing yards, and the thing I want to look at is overall, where did that ball? He had 28 rushes. That's a lot. That was a lot of offense. They're going against the Jets. They're home. They got a lot to play for. I think Walker can have another tremendous game. At number 16, Najee Harris at Baltimore. Harris was playing with a lot of desire last week. I see him really rushing with a lot of heart, and I think that's what you expect from him. So if you look here, he had, even with that, he had about, what I want to see is touchdowns. He's kind of scoring every third week. He's kind of getting in the end zone. I think the question is, can he get in the end zone again? Look, if he gets that end zone, look how much higher he is there. But anyways, he's going against Baltimore. I think Harris can do well. I like to see Harris ranked a little bit higher there, but can't go wrong. Number 17, Miles Sanders, home versus New Orleans. Now, even with a backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew, they were throwing the ball. Sanders had 65 rushing yards, and Gainwell had some rushes too. So they seem still to be balanced. But I think if they're going against New Orleans, if New Orleans can't catch up, they're just going to keep pounding the ball with Sanders near the end of the game. I like to see Sanders ranked a little bit higher just because of the importance of that game. At number 18, J.K. Dobbins, home versus Pittsburgh. Now, Dobbins didn't make the top 30 last week. He was just outside. Can't see how it can happen again. And if you got Huntley at quarterback, just don't see how it can, just don't see how it can go that way again. So I think Dobbins, if he's going to do it, he's going to be about 28, 29, 30, or just outside. I think 18 is a little high for him. At number 19, David Montgomery at Detroit. Now, this is an important interconference game. I think Montgomery, if you got Fields not taking the ball in himself, I think Montgomery can have a decent game. They got a lot to play for. I like Montgomery this week. I think that's about a fair ranking for him as well. Now, let's see here. At number 21, we got Brian Robinson Jr. versus Cleveland. Now, the question I always have for Washington is, what are they playing for? They put Wentz in, they got Heineke. I mean, what are they playing for? And Brian Robinson, he's good. This is what he looks like all season, though. If you're depending on him, I'm always saying, who's going to score? Who's going to score this week? Is it Robinson? I don't know. It's just a stretch. It's a stretch to put him at 21. At number 22, Cam Akers at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, here's a guy who got ranked number 1. 3 Russian TDs. This is what you wish you had from him all season. And I guess they're just going to keep giving him the ball and see what happens, see what they have in him. But there was talks about trading him early in the season. Now he puts up 3 Russian touchdowns. I think it's going to happen again. But why didn't this happen earlier? So I like to see Cam Akers because what he did last week ranked higher than 22. I think he can do better. At number 23, Leonard Fournette, home versus Carolina. If you're getting 9 catches for 90 yards, 10 yards a reception, I think, of course, he's going to be ranked higher. I'm not sure it's going to happen again this week, but if you look overall, it's very inconsistent. He doesn't get that much of the rushing yards. It's all in a lot of it's with the receiving, and if it's rushing, it's White. If it's receiving, it's Fournette. But Tampa has a lot to play for, so I think Brady's going to have to spread the ball out really well. But they're going against Carolina. I think Fournette can have another one of those games. So I probably would say Fournette could be ranked a little bit higher. At 20. Oh, thank you. Oh, I just saw this. Here we go. I had it on the wrong setting. So, Colin, I love these videos. Thanks. I love it, bro. Thank you. All right. So, hey, which should I go with? Chubb, Najee, or Akers? Wow. That's a lot to go with. If you're going to put Cam Akers, even though he had a tremendous game, I'm always looking to who has the most to play for right now. So you got Nick Chubb going against Washington, not that very good defense. You got Najee Harris going against Baltimore. I think Pittsburgh's got a lot to play for. And Legier, out of those, I think I'd have to go with Najee Harris. I just think that they can spread it around. I think the quarterback there, he can. I think Pickett is developing. Right? So I still like it. Of all those situations, I still like. I probably would go with Harris. So I hope that helps. All right, at number 24, A.J. Dillon versus Minnesota. Hold on. A.J. Dillon versus Minnesota. That's an important game, but I think they're going to be behind. I think A.J. Dillon's short yardage, look at, he's got 3.3. He's going to, if you put him in goal line situations, he's going to have to score. The question is they're going to need to score from deeper because Minnesota's got a lot of weapons. I think Dillon's a little stretch. At number 25, Deontay Foreman at Tampa Bay. Foreman was the second ranked running back last week. 165 rushing yards, 1 TD. Can he do it again? Does Carolina have a reason to do it again? But Foreman must be showing and playing for next season already. He's got a lot to play for. He's going against Tampa. I think that's an important divisional game. So I like Foreman's chances. I'd like to see Foreman ranked a little bit higher here. At number 26, Devin Singletary at Cincinnati. When you look at Singletary through the entire season, we'll take a look at his rushing. He can get about, I would say about 60, 65 yards per game. And he's getting in the end zone of late. I just don't think he's going to do well this week. So I think that's a little bit of I just think that the ball is going to have to go different places. I think you're going to have to depend on your receivers. And so I think Singletary, that's about right for him just because he's on Buffalo. But I think that's a little high. At number 27, Isaiah Pacheco versus Denver. Here's a team that if they get up, they could just rush the ball. They could just pass it around. I don't think Denver's that good. So I think Pacheco could do probably better than his 27th ranking. At 28, Zonovan Knight at Seattle. And if you look at last week, you wouldn't want to see him in the top 30. But you had 3 good weeks, 2 bad weeks. Now we have to make a decision where you're going to put him in the top 30. I think that's a little stretch for him. I don't think he's going to make the top 30. At 29, you got DeAndre Swift versus Chicago. Now, Swift didn't make it last week, but I think you're going to see a bounce-back game for Swift. Obviously, there was game plans sometimes switch around, and I think it can go Swift's way. And at 30, you got Jerick McKinnon, home versus Denver. They're playing at home. Now you got 2 Kansas City running backs in the top 30, barely making it. I like McKinnon this week. I think he could do a little bit better than Pacheco this week. That is going to do it for the top 30 running back rankings for week 17. If you made it this far, that means you're in the championship game and you're looking for some advice, making some decisions for your championship game. So good luck to you. And like always, thanks for watching. And on behalf of the Fantasy Goodfellas and Richard, we hope that you win and you had a good season. We can't wait to do this again next season. So thanks for watching.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.